only have 2 1 seeds making it to the Final Four of UConn and Purdue. You have an 11 seed with NC State, and then you have the 4 seed with Alabama. So out of the 4 of those teams, who are you most surprised to see get to Phoenix? Jacob, I'll go to you.
Most surprised to see there, you said?
Yeah.
Most surprised to see there is probably Alabama. I'm gonna say Alabama only because, they got lucky, and I think the reason they got lucky is they didn't have to face off against a few of those teams that I thought were going to be there, and they kind of got lucky with some of the matchups, and they played some teams that were just exhausted and out of gas, and it played in their favor. So I think that they got the right draw at the right time. The Clemson game was definitely their toughest game yet in the tournament. It was a close one. Yeah, but I definitely, especially at the end of the season, I think you and I talked about Alabama, and I basically said, I don't see them going far because of how they finished the season, but that had nothing to do with the run that they've made in March Madness.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama, they were definitely inconsistent through the regular season, but they've been on fire. Mark Sears has definitely really carried them. I think he dropped 20-plus points in every game. But let's go on to the scores for the Elite Eight. UConn, 77-52, and they went on a 30-0 run. It was 25-23 at half, and UConn just put the absolute spanking on this team. They're like, you thought that this was going to be a close game. But what I'm really impressed with UConn, I don't know if y'all watch this game, CBS or whoever was broadcasting it, and, TBS, they put up the graphic. Every game, like going back to 2023 and 2024, it's been like 20 plus. Like no team has kept it within like 15 within this team. They've just been absolutely spanking everybody in their way. We'll see if it continues, but great win for UConn. This is a stat for them. This was the first defending national champion to get to the Final Four since that 2007 Florida team. We saw Clemson and Alabama once again. Yuck. We already saw this enough on the gridiron. We didn't want to see it on the dang hardwood, but Alabama gets the win 89-82. They advanced to their first Final Four in school history. And then the Sunday games, we had Purdue, Zach Edey dropping 40 on Tennessee, 72-66. That is Purdue's first Final Four since the 1980s. And then NC State closed the deal. They got the win over Duke, 76-64. Their first, I think their first Final Four since Jimmy V won the national championship with them. So great story about NC State. I think they've won now 9 games to get to this point. We'll see if they can win 2 more to hoist the trophy. So let's get into the preview. Get into the first matchup here is going to be NC State and Purdue. You have the 11 seed versus the 1 seed. Right now, Purdue is the betting favorite at 8.5. If I'm a betting man, I am smashing NC State plus 8.5. I think that we've seen this NC State team not be afraid of anybody. So, Wade, who you'd have winning this matchup between the Wolfpack and the Boilermakers?
I like the 8.5. I'd take the points there for North Carolina State, but something tells me this Purdue team, man, I considered picking them to lose in round 1 again, and they just keep winning. They keep doubting. They keep silencing the doubters. I think so often we see teams make magical runs to the Final Four, and then they kind of show their true colors. I love what I've seen out of NC State, but I do think the magic ends, and give me Purdue in this one. But, yeah, I think they can cover the 8.5.
Yeah, I think the matchup to watch here is, are we going to see DJ Burns on Zach Edey, or are they going to go NC State going to go Diarra? We saw Ben Millbrooks come into the bench because Diarra already picked up 4 fouls, and it was only like 10 minutes in the second quarter. So we'll see if we get Burns on Edey. Would definitely be a great matchup to watch. But player outside of that, DJ Horn has been carrying this NC State team too. I mean, they got the guard play to contend with Braden Smith on Purdue. So, Jacob, you're going to go with the Boilermakers, or do you think that the Cinderella story continues for one more night?
I'm so tired of people saying, well, I think the luck runs out, or, they run out of steam. Like, My thing is they should have ran out of steam 6 games ago. Never mind right now. I mean, they're the hottest team in basketball, no matter who they play. I mean, that's the crazy thing. I can't pick against them. Like I'm going to pick NC State to win it. I think they can win it, and they're going to find some way to do it. It's just a matter of they're going to lean heavily on DJ Burns, but like you mentioned, Diarra is a key. He's going to have to out rebound Zach Edey.
And you can't get into foul trouble either. Like NC State cannot afford to get into foul trouble against Zach Edey, but because they're going to whistle Zach Edey. You can ask Tennessee fans, and he got to the foul line I think like 22 times. It was like 41 to like 22. It was like a bizarre outing. So the refs are definitely might get involved in this one, but I'm going to go with NC State too. Just like if you look back to their ACC tournament run, like they would not be here if O'Connell didn't hit that three to send it in overtime against Virginia. That's just like what makes March Madness so special. And they win that one. They win the ACC championship. They beat a really good team like Texas Tech. They get Jack Golke in Oakland in the second round, and then they really handle Marquette. And then they take out Duke, who beat a really good team in Houston. So I'm going to go with NC State. I know about Purdue. I feel like every round I say like, oh, they're going to lose. This has got to be the round they lose, and they just continue to win. But give me DJ Burns. I think that NC State. This is a team that's really hungry. Like they thought about they're like last season they were calling for their head coach to be fired, and now he can make like $9 million if he wins this game. He already got a 2-year contract extension, so. Give me NC State. I'm tired of picking against my mind. Give me the heart pick. Go with NC State.
I think like if I'm Purdue, I'm afraid to play this team. Like I'm nervous because this team just beat
this
Duke.
Team plays really loose. Like all the players feed off of DJ Burns personality.
Real. Like this is the same team that took down 2 of the greatest blue blood universities in the last 2 weeks. So, like, I don't know. They've gone on a run, and it seems like it doesn't like I said, you're playing with fire with them, and I think that both teams play the same brand of basketball. They like to bring the ball inside. They have 1 or 2 shooters, but they definitely like to play the inside game. But NC State's probably going to try to get Edey in foul trouble early, and I think if they want to do that, it's going to be DJ Burns that has to do that.
Yeah, definitely going to be a great matchup to watch. Let's get into game number 2. The nightcap that's going to close this off is the number 4 seed Alabama and the defending national champs, the number 1 overall seed in this bracket, and they have not really played any close games probably since their last season's run. Like I mentioned, they've just been blowing out people left and right. You see it from the spread, 11.5 with Connecticut. I might be leaning towards that 11.5 because they showed it in the past. They don't really play anybody close. I know that Alabama, if they're not on it from 3, this could get ugly early on. So, Jacob, you've been riding UConn, I feel like, pretty much since the season started. So, you're going to go with the Huskies going on to the national championship?
Yep, I'm going to take UConn to win it. Like you mentioned, you said it all. I think that they're the best team in basketball all year long. They're the defending national champions. I think that it will take a miracle for somebody to beat them right now, and that just seems like it is. They're super physical and they're a really tough team to play. So, yeah, I'll take the Huskies, and I think they cover the 11.5. Yeah, I definitely think they can win by 15 or 20.
Yeah, what was crazy about the Illinois game, like UConn started off the game not shooting really well. They were up 2, and then they just come out like guns a-blazing in the second half, just put it on them during the 30-0 run.
It was 23-23 in the first half. Yep. They stopped Illinois, and the next time that Illinois scored, the score was 53-25.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that is definitely what you want in the Elite 8. Just cruising your way to the Final Four. That's what it's felt like these past 2 years from the Connecticut Huskies. But really the players I've been impressed with Donovan Clinton, the big man, 7'4", he's just been feasting. He feasted it down low. And then Cam Spencer, talk about him. He had 12 rebounds against Illinois, and he hit a couple of key 3-pointers and that 30-0 run, that was just crazy watching that. I was like, man, nobody's beating this team. Like even if you play well, you're not going to beat them. It's like they're just going to hoist another national championship. So Alabama might just shoot like 53s to even keep this one close. So where are you going to go with UConn and go with the upset pretty much of the season with Alabama?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tyler. Alabama's just going to be firing up threes to try to keep pace. And I think it's time they finally miss a few. As Jacob said, they've gotten lucky. Their offense has really played well, but I think UConn takes the cake. I tried to be special and pick against UConn. That was a dumb idea. Next year, I'm going with the chalk. So,
Well, I mean,
uh,
last year wasn't chalk either. Like the number one overall seeds really didn't have much success. Like last year, Alabama was the number one overall seed. They got bounced in the Sweet 16. And then the year before that, I cannot remember who was, but the number one overall seed, hasn't won it, I believe, since I have no idea. I can't even remember. So it had to be a very long time. But I'm going to go with UConn. I'm done down this team. I've seen enough. I think that this is going to be your national champion. Unless NC State's magic just continues to just pile them on, by the grace of God, they just get 2 more wins and they hoist the trophy, which I would love to see. Like DJ Burns, it's definitely America's favorite right now, but it's hard to imagine UConn not making it back to the national championship. I think that Alabama, they definitely have the firepower at the guard play, but it's just too much UConn. This is a deep, deep team. The national championship is pretty much a week away now, so let's go ahead and make our national championship picks. So, Jacob, I'm guessing you're going to go with UConn to cut down the nets in Phoenix.
Yeah, I will, because I think they'll probably face off against NC State in the national championship, and it'll be a 1 versus 11, which will be the wildest national championship of all time. I don't see anybody stopping UConn. The only thing standing in their way is Alabama, and if it's Purdue, then it'll be a fantastic.
They already got the matchup. If it's Edie versus Klingon, I mean that's like
they're
even versus E, like Klingon,
too. So I think I had mentioned earlier in a previous show, I think on a Coast to Coast show or even on this show, that I think that UConn, they have 5 guys, as a starting. They could pull those 5 guys off and send another 5 guys out there, and those guys could be a starter at any Division I school in the country and be starters immediately. And so that's the scary part with them, is that they have such a deep bench and such a strong core that it makes it almost impossible to play against them when you're playing bench unit. I mean, it's bench versus bench is completely overmatched. It's like high school ball versus D1 ball when you go to the bench and look at both teams. So I think that that's probably the national champion, and I picked them to win the national championship because of how much I saw them play this year, and it was just crazy. Dan Hurley's the best coach in college basketball. That guy is
He's about to get paid.
Tough. Like, he's tough, but he's good. Like, he's a good tough. And I think he's kind of where people saw Calipari for so many years, and Roy Williams and Coach K. I think he falls into that category now with them if they win the national championship, because they're impressive.
Where do you think the Huskies go back to back? You going with somebody else?
Yeah, I'll go with the 2 1 seeds with UConn taking down the Nets. I think it'll get mildly high scoring. Give me UConn 82, Purdue 73.
There you have it. So we're all clean sweep here for UConn.